Hello guys, my name is Nash. Welcome to Thursday Tales of Terror. TTT. Today's case was suggested by Donal and it's a case from Ireland. Thank you, Donal, for suggesting. Firstly, let me apologize in advance if I pronounce any names incorrectly. It's not my intention to do so. This case is about a girl by the name of Anastasia Kriegel. She was known to most as Anna. She was just 14 when her life had been taken away so brutally by two boys. On 14th May 2018, Anna left her home with a boy who came to her place, and this would be the last time her father saw her. Her body was found a few days later in an abandoned house. She had been attacked violently, murdered, and was sexually assaulted. This case was shocking to the people of Ireland because the two boys involved would be the youngest in the history of Ireland to be charged with murder. What exactly happened to Anna? Let's find out. Anna Kriegel was born in Russia on February 18, 2004. She was placed in an orphanage not long after she was born, but 2 years later she was adopted. Geraldine Kriegel and her French-born husband Patrick Kriegel fell in love when they saw Anna. The couple could not conceive, so they decided to adopt, and Anna was their first child. After completing the paperwork for the adoption process, they took Anna with them to Ireland. Even though her adoptive parents had no cultural link to Russia, they made an effort for Anna to keep in touch with her Russian roots. They learned about Russian culture and kept her birth name. Her parents would celebrate two special days with her every year, her actual birthday and her adoption day. Growing up, Anna was said to be a happy girl even though she was struggling with a variety of health issues. She had gone through a 5.5-hour operation to get a tumor removed from her right ear. As a result, her hearing was impaired in that ear. She also had really poor eyesight, and some sources said that she went through an eye surgery and that caused her to have a massive scar at the back of her head. In her teens, she suffered from a painful condition, a condition which made her bones grow faster than the muscles. Because Anna was already a toddler when she was brought to Ireland, she was pretty far behind on her English language skills, but she managed to excel well in other areas such as dancing and competitive swimming. She was super athletic. She also had her own YouTube channel where she would upload a variety of stuff such as her vlogs and dancing videos. However, she struggled to make friends in her secondary school. On one occasion, her parents were alerted by a teacher that Anna was feeling suicidal. In fact, some of the bullying began before she started secondary school. She was subjected to online bullying due to her height and the fact that she was adopted. By the time she was 13, she was already 173 centimeters tall, or 5 foot 8 inches, and looked older than she actually was. She was even taller than her father, Patrick. The bullies would also make fun of her by saying she had a fake mom and dad. Some of the messages were even sexual, but Anna craved friendship. Even though she loved spending time at home with her family and the time spent with her younger cousins, she longed for someone of her own age to hang around with. She was just really an innocent girl, and her teachers and parents were so worried about her starting secondary school. An incident her parents remembered was during Halloween. Anna had come home hysterical and terrified. She was returning home after she had volunteered supervising a disco for young children. Apparently, 4 boys had approached her, and one of them kept asking her for sex before hitting her on the backside. A complaint was made and the boy received a caution. She would also be seen walking alone most of the time, while the other girls in school would be seen walking in groups. Somehow, fights were involved at school, one of which resulted in a suspension. One day, she painted a black eye on herself before going to school. According to Geraldine, Anna's mother, she felt that this black eye thing was an expression of pain that she suffered on the inside. But I did look it up. Painting a black eye is actually a trick to show the bullies that someone else had got to her first, and because of that, they might leave her alone and look for other targets. It's quite sad that Anna had to resort to such measures so that she wouldn't get harassed. Like most teenagers, Anna spent a lot of time on social media, even though she was always a target for online hate and bullying. But this was not all. It was discovered at one point that Anna had set up a fake social media account and she was using it to send bullying messages to herself. Because of this, her mother would take her phone away in the evenings and insisted that Anna give her the passwords to all her apps so her mother could check them. Even her YouTube videos had hate comments. Out of all the social media apps she was using, YouTube was actually her favorite, and it's sad that she's getting hate comments for things she likes doing. There were pleasant comments, but the mean ones are just so irrelevant and so horrible. One viewer actually told Anna to go die, while another said that they would have her executed. With all these terrible things happening to her, she was struggling mentally. She was even self-harming herself, and her parents decided to send her for counseling. She started attending after-school sessions with a therapist, and she managed to open herself up and was actually showing improvements. On May 14, 2018, Anna returned home from school to eat before going to her counseling appointment. After counseling, she came home, had a snack, and went to her room. She tried to call her mom, which she often does. They would call and text each other pretty often, but her mother couldn't pick up because she was in a meeting. So Anna's mother left her a text telling her that she would call her back shortly. Her father Patrick was relaxing outside, enjoying the beautiful weather, and at about 5 p.m. there was a knock on the door. It was a teenage boy asking for Anna. Patrick asked for his name and he went to tell Anna that this boy was looking for her. She looked confused because she knew who the boy was, but they were not friends. Nonetheless, she went and spoke to him. They were standing in the doorway and Patrick saw that she was whispering to him and he didn't find it unusual. After a few minutes, Anna ran back upstairs to get her hoodie before telling her father that she was going out, but would be back soon, and she gave him a big smile. Seconds after she left, Patrick realized that he had forgotten to ask Anna where she was going. He quickly went and opened the door and he saw Anna and the boy walking towards St. Catherine's Park. But they were not walking side by side. The boy was ahead of her and they didn't appear to be talking. About 10 to 15 minutes later, Anna's mother ended work and she gave a call to her daughter. It went straight to voicemail, but Geraldine didn't think much of it because she was expecting to see Anna home. So she reached home and Patrick told her that Anna had gone out with a boy. She became extremely concerned because nobody calls for Anna. Shortly after 5:30 p.m, Geraldine texted her daughter saying that she's home. No response. A few minutes later, she texted her again but with the message, "Answer now or I'm calling the police." Still, no response. So Geraldine walked to the park, but there were no signs of Anna. After dinner, she took her car and drove around the local estates, but they still couldn't find her. They returned home and went on Facebook to try and look for the boy's profile. They recognized him, but Geraldine and Patrick had no idea where he lived or who his parents were. Geraldine called around asking for the boy's address but without success. They then decided to look for their friend, who is a retired detective, for advice. He told them to go straight to the Gardaí and report Anna as missing. Gardaí is the name of the police in Ireland. At that point, Anna had been gone for 4 hours. Geraldine told the police that something bad is happening because Anna would always respond. Anna is the type of person that if she's not talking to you, she would tell you that she's not talking to you. So the first thing the police did was to go to the home of the boy after locating his address on their Pulse computer system and question him. He told them that they walked in the park, but he left her there at 5:40 p.m. to finish his homework. Just a little note that this boy's name cannot be revealed due to the law in Ireland because he's still a minor and he was 13 when it happened. So we will be addressing him as Boy B. The park was searched but Anna was nowhere to be seen. The next day, Anna's family continued their search, and by this time, the whole community was aware that Anna had gone missing and many friends and neighbors came together to help search for missing Anna. The police even began a missing person investigation and they also went back to talk to Boy B again. This time, he had more information to tell. Boy B told them that he went to Anna's house that day to bring her to one of his friends who, according to him, Anna had a crush on. So this boy that Anna had a crush on, let's call him Boy A. So Boy A knew about Anna's feelings, but unfortunately, he didn't feel the same way and wanted to tell Anna in person. So with the help of Boy B, who brought Anna to the park, and as soon as Anna met Boy A, Boy B left them to go home. The police then brought Boy B to the park so he could show them exactly where he went with Anna. Boy B showed the police where they had entered the park, where they had met Boy A, and where he had left the two of them to talk. The police marked all of these locations. Meanwhile, a media appeal was issued for any information on Anna's whereabouts. After the appeal went out, potential leads began to pour in. A few people told the police that they had seen Anna. One person said he even saw Anna at the departure area of Dublin Airport, but all these leads amounted to nothing, unfortunately, and the police decided to bring both Boy A and Boy B to the park. They asked both boys to show them where they walked. As they walked, Boy B was leading them on a different route from the one he originally showed them, and when they came to a stop, the police saw both of the boys exchanging a look and they found it suspicious. They also noticed that Boy A was limping. His leg and arm were injured and there was a cut on his face. According to Boy A, he said he was being attacked by two males after meeting with Anna. He claimed that one of the two males had grabbed him by the shoulder and shoved him to the ground, and both of them started kicking him. But the attack ended when Boy A got up and kicked one of them in the head, causing them to flee. The police thought this was weird because his description of defeating his attacker sounded more like teenage fantasy than reality. So they decided to take the boys back to the station to make official statements. The police did investigate the alleged assault. Boy A even helped investigators compile a photo feed of the attackers. None of the witnesses in the park that day saw anybody matching the photo feed. CCTV cameras also failed to pick up anyone matching the description. The police also took the boy's clothes and shoes for testing to find out who attacked him, and these results would take a few days. The boys also continued to stick to the same story that Boy B had brought Anna to the park to meet Boy A, and then he left them both there. They were also asked to describe their relationship with each other. Boy B said that he and Boy A were just acquaintances, whereas Boy A said that they were both best friends. One of them was definitely lying. At this point, the police was extremely worried that Anna may have been harmed or even killed. The search intensified with a specialist search team brought in and was searching rivers and other bodies of water in the area. On May 17, 2018, Anna's body was found in an abandoned farmhouse. It was called Glenwood House and it was built around the 1800s. Even though it was abandoned for a long time, teenagers would often hang around there doing some sneaky business, partying, drinking, and such. And the farmhouse was in such bad condition, it looked as if it was going to collapse anytime. It was also dark inside because the windows had been boarded up, but the police was familiar with the buildings, having responded to reports of teenagers messing there over the years. So that day, a search team was sent to check out the farmhouse. The officer that found Anna in a room said he could definitely smell dried blood. He believed it was either a mannequin or something terrible. It was Anna. Anna was naked and only had her black socks on. She had injuries all over her body. This room that Anna was found in, which would be labelled as Room 1. Her clothing and pieces of her iPhone were scattered around the room. Nearby were a cement block and a large stick, both of which were blood-stained. There were also bloodstains on the walls and on the carpeted floor. A long length of insulation tape was partially wrapped around her neck. She had 3 fingers inside the tape as if she was trying to get it off. A former state pathologist, Professor Marie Cassidy, spent 40 minutes just listing the 50 areas of injury all over Anna's body. The most serious was to her head, face, and neck. Professor Marie concluded the cause of her death was due to blunt force trauma to the head and the neck. There were also signs of compression to her neck, but there was no evidence that the tape had caused this. Anna had also been sexually assaulted. Anna's top had some semen stains. Other injuries suggested that there had been penetration or attempted penetration of the vagina with something, but Professor Marie could not determine what that something was. She also couldn't tell if Anna had been conscious at the time. But it was clear that Anna had put up a fight as investigations in the house revealed that her false nails were scattered around the room. Anna's approximate time of death was around 45 minutes after she left her house. At this point, the police already had suspects in mind, the 2 boys. If you recall, Boy A's shoes and clothes were taken and the results showed that there was Anna's blood on his boots. Originally, the police wanted to take his boots to trace down his alleged attacker, but now we have something else. The police were granted a warrant to arrest the boys. They searched their homes and took their electronic devices and some belongings. Interestingly, the police had to do it discreetly due to their young age, so they had to inform the parents beforehand, rent a car, and wear plain clothes. And the police managed to uncover even more evidence. During the search of Boy A's house, police found a backpack in his bedroom containing gloves, knee pads, shin guards, a scarf-like snoot, and a homemade mask. This would soon become known among investigators as the murder kit. The gloves were particularly important to the police case as they explained why no fingerprints were found at the scene. On Boy A's 2 phones, he had thousands of images of pornography, some of which depicting sexual violence. I think there were more than 12,000 images. One featured a man in a balaclava looking at a semi-naked woman, and another showed a man choking a woman as a second man watched. The phone's memory showed several pornographic videos had been accessed online, including one with a title referring to a woman called Anastasia. Another referred to Russian teens. There were also searches for child porn, animal porn, horse porn, dark web, and dead boy prank in abandoned haunted school, but none of this would be heard by the jury. Boy A had also researched on gruesome torture methods and abandoned places in their town. As for Boy B, there was a book found in his room. In this book, there's a page titled Satanic Pledge, and it has a list of rules. They weren't allowed to talk about God or Jesus, only Satan. Don't talk about the club to anyone, and act normal like nothing happened. Boy B had set up this club, and it's called a satanic cult. Not everyone can join the cult, and on one page there were a list of names, 7 names including Boy B and Boy A, and there were various symbols next to each name. Boy B told the police about a particular conversation he had with Boy A about a month before the incident happened. Boy A had asked Boy B if he wanted to kill somebody. Boy B said no because it's retarded, and he asked Boy A, "Who are you planning on killing?" Boy A said, "Anastasia Kriegel." Boy B said it's normal for Boy A to say things like that, and he didn't think much of it. Throughout the questioning, Boy B kept denying his involvement, but the police had in fact examined more than 700 hours of CCTV footage from the area around where Anna disappeared, so they knew Boy B was lying. They kept telling him repeatedly that the route he claimed they took that day in no way matched what was captured by the cameras. Still, Boy B stuck to his story. Oh, and if you didn't know, because the Children Act forbids child suspects from being detained in cells, the police had cleared an office for the boy and brought in bedding so he and his mom could sleep in the office overnight. One morning, he told one of the officers that what he said previously was a lie, and he's going to retell the story again. He told the officers that he didn't walk to St. Catherine's Park with Anna that day. They went straight to Glenwood House to go and meet Boy A. And as soon as they got there, Boy A had gone into room 1 with Anna. Boy A also told Boy B to leave, but Boy B wanted to explore the farmhouse. But as soon as Boy B heard a shuffling sound, he ran back to room 1 to see Boy A kind of flip Anna like a judo type move. Boy A started to choke her and pull off her clothes, and Anna was crying and screaming, but Boy A would put his hands over her mouth to shut her up. Boy B couldn't do anything, and he just stood there watching it happening because he was scared, and his brain was frozen in place. He didn't know what to do, but there was a point when both Anna and Boy A had looked at Boy B, and he got scared, and so he just ran away. And as he ran, he could still hear Anna screaming. Do take note that this is all said in Boy B's account. And Boy B said he didn't know what Boy A's plan was. He didn't know Boy A was going to kill Anna. So the test results for the murder kit came back, and it had Anna's blood on it. And the semen stain that was found on Anna's clothes belonged to Boy A. The questioning with Boy A was going nowhere, to be honest. Even though the police had shown him evidence on what they found, like Anna's blood on his boots, he would flatly deny everything. But the police had more than enough evidence at this point. Boy A and Boy B were charged with causing Anna's death, and Boy A was also charged for sexually assaulting her. Because they were minors, their parents could sit right next to them. In court, Boy A often rested his head on his father's shoulder. Boy B held his mother's hand almost constantly. However, do note that there was zero forensic evidence linking Boy B to the killing. In order to prove the murder, the prosecution needed to prove that he knew the plan that day was to kill Anna. To do this, they relied heavily on Boy B's admission that Boy A had asked him a month earlier if he wanted to kill the girl. The entire case against Boy B would essentially boil down to one issue. Did he believe Boy A when he said this, or did he think he was joking? If the former was true, Boy B was guilty. If it was the latter, he was innocent. The judge deliberated for over 14 hours and decided that both boys were guilty of Anna Kriegel's murder. Boy A was also guilty for sexual assaulting Anna, and for that he was put on the sex offenders register. Boy A appeared to cry while Boy B held his head in his hands. Boy A was sentenced to life with a review period after 12 years for Anna's murder. Additionally, he was sentenced to 12 years for aggravated sexual assault. Boy B was sentenced to 15 years for Anna's murder. This will be reviewed after 8 years. Boy B's father was not having it. He was extremely unhappy. He started shouting, "You bunch of scumbags! You bunch of pricks!" He even clapped sarcastically at the court as the two teens were led away. Now, the reason why Boy B was charged with murder was because the court explained that Boy B played a very important role in Anna's death. If he didn't go to Anna's house to bring her out to the abandoned house to meet Boy A, then all of this wouldn't happen. The boys will be transferred to an adult prison when they turn 18, and their identities will forever be kept hidden from the public. Throughout the trial, there was widespread public anger, much of it expressed on social media that some of the most intimate details of Anna Kriegel's life were being put on display. On the other hand, Boy A and Boy B had their identity completely hidden. But there's nothing much we can do about this. However, a number of posts appeared on social media platforms including Twitter and Facebook that identified the two boys despite a court order being made preventing this. An injunction was served on Twitter and Facebook to remove all of these posts. It was also reported that Boy A got assaulted by fellow inmates in May 2020, suffering minor injuries. He was 15 then. A charity to help other teenagers was set up in her honor by Anna's family with the Russian-Irish adoption group called Anna's Network of Adolescents. Her parents missed her every day and they truly loved her like their own. They were extremely heartbroken. Anna was a dream come true for them and will always be. Anna had dreams and it was crushed by bullying, which resulted in her unfortunate murder. This was such a hard case to do. It's so heartbreaking and sad because all Anna wanted was to have friends and be loved, and she was such a kind and loving person with so much love to give. With that being said, please be kind to one another and let's put a stop to bullying. Be mindful of the words you're leaving online and how they can hurt or even cause harm to others. You'll never know what they are going through. If you're a victim of bullying, please seek help or reach out to someone or your national helpline. And that is all I have for today's case. If you're interested to read up on her case, I can leave some links in the description below. Please take care of yourself, stay safe. Until then, I hope to see you guys again next Thursday. Bye!